Hello friend, and welcome to the slowest sim driving channel on YouTube, where today we're going to be taking a look at this chap behind me, the ECCI Trackstar 6000 from 2005. It's a legendary bit of kit. It's quite rare and hard to find, but I've got one here and we're going to chat about it. And here it is, the ECCI Trackstar 6000. This is a 2005 wheel. We are going well back. So you'd expect this to just be a wheel that just goes round and round, does nothing else, just steers the car. But in fact, this has a lot of tricks up its sleeve. And back in 2005, we didn't have those fancy things like force feedback, vibration on wheels. One quick look underneath this wheelbase shows you that this has got a lot of tricks. And I'll tell you what everything is from bottom to top, and then we'll go into detail on what it does, because this is a considerably old piece of kit here, about 17, 18 years old. It's got to have its tricks, otherwise, you know, I wouldn't be here telling you all about it. So let's go through it. Steering wheel at the bottom, I've just laid the wheelbase on that rather than hold it, because this is very heavy. This is a lot of metal, a whole lot of metal. We've got a wheel spacer in here, and we have paddle assembly, and this is on a button box actually. This isn't anything fancy like you get these days. It's I think it's membrane, because I don't hear any kind of clicking, just metal on metal when it's moved. Then we've got the main collar, of course, which you have on any wheel, but then things get really different from technology we have right now. First of all, we've got a tensioning spring on this side, and the tensioning spring is it's designed to mimic the weight of a vehicle. We will get to that, but this assembly goes all the way across, and we'll look at that in more detail in a bit. That's brilliant. We can't really see it, but inside here somewhere, it's definitely there somewhere, inside here we've got a stopper to control how far the steering wheel can actually steer. I don't actually have the right tools to get into that at the moment. I'm short of an Allen key to get this particular wheel off. It's a strange key size. Yeah, there is something in there. You can just change it from like 100 degrees to 240, so it's not as much as you have on a modern wheel, but that's just the way it is. Coming back here, the steering goes right through this shaft, and at the top of the shaft here we have ourselves a potentiometer, and that potentiometer is literally just a variable resistor. It's not even covered. The electronics are all visible there, so I suppose that could even be replaced with another variable resistor if there was some sort of mechanical failure or other electronic failure on that. We have the FLDS, which is this. What the hell is an FLDS? That's right, because modern wheels don't have this. This is a fluid dampening system which is attached to a pulley. The pulley is here, and when the wheel turns, this actually slows down the wheel rotation. So you've got some resistance from this to give you the feeling that you're actually steering something mechanical, and then you have the resistance from the spring to give you a feeling of weight. Also, this is the whoa, just make the camera shake. This is the adjustment arm here for the rake of the wheel, but we're going to look at that properly in just a moment. Although it's the right era, this isn't the original wheel. This is a wheel that the previous owner put on, the Momo wheel. As you can see, we've got these bolts here. We could probably put a regular racing wheel on this. This is attached to the spacer just here, and the spacer holds it away from the button box. We've got 6 buttons to choose from. They're just white, they don't light up or anything. The position of the buttons is actually really good. You can get your fingers right in there, your thumbs right in there. Again, the shifter is right where you need it, even though we're on a spacer, so that's good. So I could replace all this, that's fine. One thing I have noticed is that the downshift, it feels slightly different to the upshift, and it misses sometimes. So I think age might be catching up with this. Maybe I can strip it down and I can do something with that. And despite this being such an old wheel, let's see if we can turn it. Wow, that weighs a ton. As you can see here, we can actually adjust the angle of the shifters. So if we're not using the spacer, we can push the shifters back a little bit, there's about, I'd say about 15 to 20 mil there. So that's good. That's very good indeed. Okay, this bit I've got to do one-handed because I'm lifting it at a very funny angle. Let's see if we can find that spring. There's the spring. I'm just going to turn the steering, and you can see the steering is compressing that spring. And because of the way it's set up with this system over here, whichever way you turn the steering, it will compress that spring. So what we have here is a system which pushes back, and the further you steer, the harder it pushes back. So this is always going to recenter itself. And the way it recenters itself is completely down to your personal preference. So if you're driving a truck, you can set this to be really, really tense. If you're driving, say, a Formula V, you take the tension right off and have a very loose wheel. What we have here, this pulley system, this is part of the FLDS. Sorry if it's wobbling a little bit. I'm trying not to balance it too much on the back end. And yeah, that just provides a very smooth turn. And it is smooth. The movement is never jagged, it never bounces. That's very impressive, especially for its age. What we have at the back is, it's almost amusing. It's just a very simple 3-pin variable resistor. So that's going to be attached. Let's see if we can get in with the camera to show you where it's attached. There you go. So at the very end of the shaft, we have this just very, very simple connection to the variable resistor. Oh, crikey. I can't begin to tell you how heavy this thing is. It's amazing. But you know what I really like about it, about the wheelbase, is that it's red. That's all it comes down to. Okay, so I had to go stripping it down. I found the right size Allen key, but unfortunately the actual Allen bolts themselves are very, very soft and spongy. So I'm going to need to find some other way of doing that. I'm not going to touch that right now. I don't know if it's their age or the build quality or what, but never mind. Well, that's the wheelbase. Let's have a look at the pedals because they have their own tricks too. Pedals themselves, it's a set of 3. They do come as a set of 2, but this is a adapted set. We've got a very simple system here. This is the clutch I'm on at the moment, and as you can see, this arm here, which is pushed down, is attached to just a simple, again, variable resistor just here, and it's the same over here on the throttle. Just again, simple push down, and that turns the variable resistor. Now the brake is a variable resistor as well, but as you can see, the brake's got a whole lot more going on. And we've got all this tension in just here. We've got an extra spring just here, so I can just get the camera on it. There we go. It's the extra tensioning spring for the brake. So the brake is much, much heavier. Like the wheelbase, this is an all-metal construction, every bit of it. So this weighs an absolute ton. I cannot begin to tell you how much this weighs. It is crazy. We've got this big, thick metal foot plate just here, this heel plate rather, and these are metal plates here on the pedals, and yes, the whole thing is inverted. So this is from an age where, you know, people were experimenting with sim racing, and so we've got a complete triple inverted set, and as you can see, we can space the pedal faces the way we want them. You can also space this differently, the heel plate, because if you haven't got the clutch, the whole frame is brought closer together, and so the heel plate will sit differently. As with the wheelbase, we've got plenty of options as well. For example, we can tension the brake here, and we can use different springs. There are different springs in the set. A case of taking that off, popping the spring out, pop a new spring in, put the bolt back in, and that's it done. And also we can change the angle of the pedals as well, the entire pedal base. We can bring it forward. We can lay it down. So here you see we can move this. What we can't do is adjust the throw. The throw is set by this space here. As you can see, we've got that stopper there. The stopper itself can't be moved. So that is as far as it will go. But believe me, once these pedals are in place, they are not going to move. What we don't have with this wheelbase is a good way to mount it, unfortunately, on a rig. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on this this torture device looking thing, and this is the clamp that is going to hold it onto the table for us, and I'll show you where that goes in just a moment. Okay, so the wheel is plugged in, the pedals are plugged into the wheel. There we go. I've had to put a bit of wood underneath the wheel because I was worried that it wasn't going to do too well on my flimsy computer desk. Okay, so here's our device. It's installed as an ECCI high-def USB. Let's take a look at the properties of it. So as you see, we've got some axes. You can see this is reading very much as an analog joystick. When I steer it, we've got that axis there going left and right. What have we got on the... So we've got button 3 for the upshift, button 7 for the downshift, and all of these buttons here are all set to very different button configurations. But what's important here is the other axes, Z, X and Y, which are of course the pedals, you can see, but these are inverted. There's the brake, I see it's taking a little bit more force to get the brake down. There's the clutch. So that's interesting that they're inverted, but I'm sure that's something we can figure out when we take a look at this wheel in action. I think that's what we should do next. Is this 2005 wheel, is it going to be any good on a modern game? It's obviously got no force feedback. Is that going to matter? Let's take it for a gentle drive first before we do anything too harsh with it. So the heel deck is very comfortable, despite the fact that it looks like some sort of torture device. And the pedals themselves, you know, they're quite light. They seem easy to modulate, and that's a surprise because it is just a few variable resistors. Just go for those apexes there. So yeah, that's the big shocker for me. But what about the wheel? Well, the wheel doesn't turn very far. 240 degrees is only 120 degrees in either direction. And for modern games, for modern games, that's just not a lot. You know, you couldn't play Euro Truck Simulator on this, for example, because you simply don't have the rotation. I suppose you could play any kind of Formula 1 game, you know, but let's be honest, these aren't the sort of games that this is aimed at. This wheel is aimed at 2005 games because it's a 2005 wheel. Oh, and moreover, you see, that lack of force feedback there means it's hard to know when it's about to go. I'm struggling to find anything bad to say about this, to be honest with you. Obviously, it's not going to be a racer, those days are gone, because force feedback is so important now. Back in the olden days, hey, I'm driving here. Back in the olden days, we would have really pronounced tyre squeals on games, and that would let us know when we were passing the limit of grip. Oh, just keep going, and you know, that would be our force feedback. It would be audible. These days, there's so much going on in a game, so much to listen for, and so much going on with the physics. Just a simple audio cue isn't going to cut it. What you're going to need is really tactile feedback, and of course this doesn't have it, but it doesn't matter. I mean, look at it, it's red for goodness sake, and I'm just modulating the throttle here just with my toe ends, and it's really responding well. It's the first time I've ever used an inverted pedals system, and I've got to say, for driving on the road, it feels very intuitive because, you know, it's just like driving a car. The shifters work just fine. The buttons work fine. I was using the buttons before I started recording just to set a few things up. It's quite amazing. I think before I go, I should give it the ultimate test, shouldn't I? I should race it. I must be mad, but let's give it a go. So if you've got a racing wheel, you want to race it, right? First of all, ACC without force feedback is going to be weird. Because we've got such a short axis, I don't really know how far to steer. You have to be very light with this. Obviously I've put the track guide on because that's one less thing to think about while I'm struggling with this wheel. But the pedals, oh my goodness, the pedals are so good. I feel like I can make the car do anything I want to when it comes to accelerating and braking. That's quite nice actually. Oh, I'm an idiot. This isn't the course I thought it was. I do know this course. Okay, never mind. But it's weird without force feedback. Oh my goodness, I didn't know what was going on underneath me. So that's strange. So once again, it's that sudden feeling that's gone. There's no vibration or anything, which is such a shame because the wheel itself is so accurate. I've got some weird sandwiching going on. I hope that's not happening for you as well. But what I will say is that this is so smooth. There's no gimmicky sensors or anything. It's just such a direct way of input, and in a way, this is a very early direct drive wheel. Something just fell off my my desk there. I don't know what it was. Oh, right. But as you can see, without the added benefit of the force feedback or vibration, it's like I'm just flying blind here. I'm sure that given enough time, I could probably get used to it. Do I want to give it enough time? I mean, not really, because I want to drive to my best, and I know that without the force feedback, I'll never drive to my best. That's not what it's about with this wheel. This wheel isn't about setting records. It's about its history. And the chances are I'll probably set this up to play MAME games on. On a side note, none of the electronics are shielded on this, as you saw, and I think what's happening is that because the pedals and the wheelbase are between my headset and my Bluetooth adapter, I'm actually getting interference. So let's pull over because that's really doing my head in. So yeah, you can also see there the wheel is off center. I can see it's off center. I don't know if that's the spring. It could be the spring tension, I don't know. But, oh, that was different. That was fun. So who is this wheel for? Well, it's not for somebody that wants to win races, that's for sure. It's for collectors. It's for people who want a little bit of history. Back in its day, this would have cost you probably the better part of £1,000. These days you can still pick them up for about £1,000. I got lucky with this one, I didn't have to pay nearly that much. I'm going to give it a go on MAME at some point. My camera's nearly flat, so I can't do it right now. But I'll probably do another video on that, and we'll have a look at some retro games. So you've enjoyed joining me on this trip down sim racing memory lane with the ECCI Trackstar 6000. It's quite a device. Good or not, I love it. It's brilliant. It's a piece of history. I hope you'll join me again when I might just be using this for something else. If you're new around here, drop a thumbs up, maybe subscribe. You know, be nice, keeps me motivated. Thanks very much to my Patreon. Thanks to my Discord. Thanks to my channel sponsors, Button Bashers. All the details of those are down in the description. Until next time, be good to yourself, be good to those around you. Bye bye for now.